Well, we've got a real treat for you today. A really profound, down-to-earth, real, very honest, personal interview with Ranveer Mohal from Free Trade Beers and Minerals. I mean, he joined the business as a young man, his father's business, and he grew the business with him, and now he's taken it on his own, and he's growing it very fast, taking on a lot of pressure. And it's a very open account of his learning journey, really, through that development, that process, and particularly over the last 2 or 3 years, COVID and post-COVID. And I think you'll see in yourself the person, what Rav talks about is very familiar to most people who run a business. There's the challenges of organizing and coordinating and infusing a team, etc. Very profound, very honest. And he particularly focuses on his openness now to learning and getting better as a business person, learning more business skills, being open to what the team says, to what he's reading, being humble, never really expecting that he knows everything, understanding that actually there's gaps and there always will be, and how can he bring people in to help him on those, and constantly reading. This is a real revelation, constantly reading business books and getting new insights into how to improve his business. So really honest, really open interview. Enjoy. So welcome everybody to my ongoing podcast series, Stressing Values. I'm Colin Crooks, and today I'm very pleased to be joined by Ranveer Mohal, who runs a very interesting free trade beer and minerals. Yes, sorry, nearly got it wrong there. We're going to talk about his business, which has been growing rapidly over the last couple of years. So Rav, welcome to the podcast series, Stressing Values. How are you feeling?
Not bad, Colin. You?
Yeah, can't complain. So I think some of our viewers will get from the name of your business what you do, but could you just expand a bit, tell us a little bit more about how it works and what you actually do in it?
Okay, the business that I run is a company called Free Trade Beers and Minerals Limited. We're a wholesale business. We serve, we're delivered. We predominantly started off as a delivered wholesale business to pubs, clubs, bars, and restaurants. But we've pivoted, and now we've got a cash and carry arm, so people can come in and collect all of their. We sell a wide range of things like alcoholic drinks, soft drinks, spirits, tissues, a spectrum of products are growing as time is going on. Basically, what I'm doing right now is what I think I'm doing is I've become the glue between the management of the business, basically constantly oiling each section of the business.
Oh, that's really interesting. So yeah, so when you say the glue, trying to keep, so what do you mean by that?
So the business has actually grown to a level where I can't run it myself anymore. Now I need people that are going to be managing each section of the business. So you've got a sales function, you've got an operation function, you've got a finance function. But each part of that business, you've got a purchasing function. It needs to talk to one another in order for the business to run. It's for a customer. I'm not there yet. We're still trying to get there, but the process of how a customer would run through the business, just like if you would think like a production line in Ford Motor Company, a customer will come in, depending on what type of customer. So it could be a delivered customer or a collection customer, but a delivered customer a bit more complex because there's credit, there's margin, there's things about the margin that are in there. There's the actual operational side of picking orders. There's the finance side of it, where we're looking at if the customer owes us own money, or what do we do when the order goes out. There's the delivering side of it. So you've got your staff that are out there getting you drivers and pickers and making sure the whole thing is working in a dynamic
together without you having to get involved too much.
Correct, Mondo.
Yeah.
Correct, Mondo.
Got you. Yeah, that's quite a task, but you're making progress on that, I know, because the business has been growing quite quickly, hasn't it?
It has started since COVID. COVID was obviously where you hear a lot of stories about. It was either make or break for companies in COVID. So this is a business that's been going on since 1991. It was actually incorporated in 1991, legacy business. I took it over in, well, not really took it over, but I started properly in it in 2008. And by about 2011, 2012, I'd got quite a good grip of everything of what was going on, and
Right.
didn't really assume a position of a director. It's just, it happened basically. I worked through it, like learned every.
So who started the business then, Rav?
My father started the business with his brothers in. They started actually off licenses in 1975, but the business was actually this business, the actual wholesale side, got incorporated in 1991. They saw a gap in the market for a wholesale need and got involved with it. Had a bit of space in a shop that they had, and the wholesale started for them. They caught up the right market that kept them moving.
So you came on board of the company in around 2008.
2008, yeah.
And you've gradually learned the ropes.
Correct.
To the point where you're in charge.
Correct. And the rapid growth has actually happened since COVID.
Right.
Where there is
what sort of growth levels are we talking about? Percentages or your turnover?
Well, we've been mathematically, you're looking at about 15 to 20% increase per year on turnover.
Wow.
15 round about that, but there's been 20s like this year where we're really gearing. This year we're going a bit crazy. I'm quite shocked at when I've looked at the sales figures I was looking over the weekend. We're gearing at about 7 million. So, but when I moved into this warehouse, 2019, we were at about 3 million.
Wow.
The growth is added, about 3 or 4 million, or 3.5, 3 million. We were around about that figure.
So you've doubled in that time.
Doubled it, but that was COVID. It wasn't a magic thing that happened. It wasn't just one of those. Sometimes you hear these success stories that someone moved in. There's been a lot of graft and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into it.
Yeah, I can imagine to stay up with and keep the deliveries going and making sure everyone is happy when you're growing that fast must have been really quite a challenge.
The next plans of this place is, firstly, I want to get the processes completely right, because the growth we've got the growth there, but I need to control that growth. Basically, I need to control every part of to allow that growth to happen. There's business operations that need to occur behind the scenes. So I need to make sure they're all in a controlled manner, so we can see the processual side of it. If there's anything that does actually go wrong, that's where I'm at right now. 3 to 5 years is once you've got those processual sides of the business set. Hopefully not hopefully, the vision is to grow. Want to get to 20 million, 21, 22 million. We've got a site here that we can grow into. We've got enough space to grow into, but we want to be at capacity, basically.
Right. And you've got capacity to grow into, so you can grow without having to get new premises. Correct. Wow. So aside from getting the processes right, which is in itself obviously quite a lot of work, I think people underestimate that. What else do you think are the big challenges that you're going to have to overcome to get to that level of turnover? What else do you think you're going to face?
I think the main thing is to getting your team on board. Making them aware of what the vision is, to understand exactly what it is that's in your head. I think that's one of the things I'm coming to realization now. I used to go through business when I was younger, or when I got to where I am. You just assume people are going to know where you want to be, and you realize actually nobody actually knows you unless you project that in front of them. That's one massive thing that I've realized, is actually projecting, because it's all well and good saying that you want to get to a turnover. But if that's only in your head and your guys don't understand where you want to be, then they don't know where they're working towards. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's been a massive thing. And I know I've heard this a load of times from other people that have grown businesses. You think, yeah, that's all, whatever, basically, you've got to do it. But no, it's so true, because you don't actually realize how important it is that your guys have got to also vision what you see.
You need to spend some time describing it to them, because they won't automatically understand it.
Correct. Unless it's a family-run business purely where you've just got brothers and sisters and you're going home and you're talking about it all day long, and you've got real close family ties and they're all in the business, and then you're all talking about we want to grow, expansion, and you all know, then it's natural. That should work. Because I haven't got any brothers or sisters working in the business, I've got all members of staff, people that we've gone out and hired. they're not going to have the same vision because they're not going home with you. They're not talking about the same things.
Oh, so you've got to bring it to life for them.
Correct, Armando.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel a bit awkward because you feel like you're acting it out, but you're not. You know,
No.
sometimes you have to tell these guys.
How do you think you can, because a turnover number probably is quite meaningless to most people, you know, 7, 8, 10, 20, probably doesn't mean much to them. What do you think you can do to, what does it look like to you, and you visualize it, not just the number, but how?
The actual image would be having a fleet or truck of vehicles, like a truck of, I want 7.5-ton lorries going up to 18-ton lorries, everything in between, delivering out in a situation where we have a telesales team phoning customers, getting our delivered sales up, working closely with brand owners. I'm watching brand owners coming into our offices, looking at our stock lines, talking to our sales reps about what the new products are, what's actually up for, what's hot on the market at the moment, and how we get that message out there and that we're working with these brand owners. That's on our delivered side, and they've not got a collect side. But yeah, that's what I'd like to aim for on the collection side, where public are able to walk in, traders are able to walk in and pick their stuff up. The alcoholic beverages hopefully will grow into, well, not hopefully, but the plan is to grow the product range where it's not just alcohol, it's other lines as well. What a human being needs. What is it that human beings buy, basically? Because human beings buy a wide range of things.
You could put much more stock in there.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's not just alcohol based. And then the other ultimate game, which is going to be in the pot in the 5-year short-term plan, what we were looking at is I need to get my online is the big game.
Right.
Online.
That's the big change. Yeah. So people can come online and pay
online
and
is
order.
something that I really want. And I've got a real burning desire inside me to get that up and running.
Yeah. I think that's got to be done. Yeah. Fantastic. So one of the things I try to explore in this series is what makes the owner tick in terms of the values they bring to the business and what values you have or the business has. What would you say in relation to them?
It was something along the lines of come with the attitude that you're going to win, but do it like an underdog.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And that is something that I have resonated with from young, from when I've grown up, is actually telling the guys that we want to be the guys that come out of nowhere. The suppliers that, you know, when people it's sad when people get quite big in business, they start becoming a bit snooty. And when they become snooty, they realize they think they're too strong in the market. And that is the most dangerous point of any company or any person, any relationship, is when you think you are too strong, you leave a massive gap open for anybody else to come in and take what you haven't been looking at because you think you've made it. You've never made it in business. Gerber's book tells you that. Gerber's, I was reading the book on chapter 10 yesterday, and it is business is a process, is a processual thing. But it's never something that you can say you've done and finished.
You've cracked it.
It's going to continue to move. That's the reason, because the world is moving, technology is moving, everything's moving. Now, if you think that you've got a business that's just stopped, then probably for that couple of months or 6 months in time, maybe.
Yeah.
But it will move. Now, being the underdog in it is something that I've seen underdog moves within our business. I've seen, when I mean moves, as in like a recession and businesses booming and coming down. It's the same thing. Businesses fall the same waves. And I've been through it and I've seen it personally. And that gives you the fight and the power to actually, you know, the burning desire inside to say, no, I'm not going down. I'm not going to let this be.
I'm going to fight this.
I'm going to fight it and take it. But then you have the very low moments in time and you have the very up moments, but it's trying to fight through and remember what reason you're there for.
The other things that you spoke about before when we met was the idea of family and
family. Very important. Family is very, very, very important. From obviously not only just at home, but you are at work with these guys more than what you are at your home. So they're your work family, and that work family you need to worry about, just like when you're at home and you see anybody suffering, like your brothers, sisters, siblings, cousins. This is the same as the human beings. I think this is one thing when I see businesses drop from outside. When I'm looking from outside, people have this assumption that I'm a businessman and I'm the boss and I'm the big I am basically, and nobody should come into it. No, that's far from it. I've learned it's far from it. You should be able to read every single one of your guys and see what's happening with them, if they're suffering or if they're happy about something. Or, and I'm not just saying this, I hope I don't look back at this video I think, Rav, you were just, this is genuine.
Yeah.
That you knowing what's going on with your staff, being a family, or that's me. I love being around family. I love having a laugh and a giggle and seeing people laughing and joking makes you happy.
Yeah.
That's the same thing as your staff. You don't have to be this tyrant of a boss.
No.
Or what with this image that you do get, you hear when you see things like Hell's Kitchen, you see Gordon Ramsay going at people.
Yeah, that's a bit extreme, isn't it?
Yeah. Or if you're looking at things like The Apprentice, I don't think Alan Sugar would actually be that rock. He'd have people, his advisors that are around him, which are his family. They're his work family, and he's got to have some sort of trust built in with these guys in order for them to carry him to where he is.
Yes, absolutely. You
and
can't
your
be
people
like
are the
that.
ones who are going to carry. Your people are the ones who are going to carry you to where you need to get to, basically. Now, one of the biggest parts is what most people you learn on a daily basis is that family and how you treat your guys is probably one of the most core things in order for your business to go forward. Otherwise, if you can't have that, there's probably no point running a business, because then you can't really depend on your people, because they're not going to be able to depend on you.
Yeah,
both ways.
I think that's a really interesting point, that they can't depend on you. So it is a two-way street. So how do you use those sorts of ideas, the sort of underdog idea and the family idea, to bring your team along to achieve this 5-year goal? How do you think you're going to do that?
Well, we normally have a meet with these guys, and that's when I actually drive in and drill with them and find out where are we sitting. There'll be a bit of a punch and a bit of a cuddle at the same time, sort of thing. Not literal punch and cuddle, but it's one of them. It's, no, not literal, but obviously it's one of them where we've got to, but how can we help you? And then obviously then there's a cuddle to get these guys to go, come look, we can go forward, and we can huddle and go forward. Getting the family orientation side of it is things, it could be simple things like one thing, Colin, we were talking about is that actually taking these guys out for dinner and stuff like that, and having a get together. There, we did this last week, I think, the week before. It was on a Thursday when I did this with some of the guys in the office, in a controlled environment, so you're not actually sitting in the workspace, but they're still with you. And they feel comfortable in order to talk. It's like you're being mates. You're actually being mates. So you're on it's a different setting and scene altogether. Things like that, going out, meeting, actually taking them out. We haven't had so many of those this year, but we have times where we've gone bowling and stuff like that, and just general stuff what you're doing with your family.
Nice. Yeah.
In order for you to treat them like your family, you'll have to do things that you do with your family. That's exactly.
I think that's actually a really good analogy. Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. So it's literally act like they're part of the family. Yeah.
And everybody in your family, if you never noticed that in your family, you get annoyed with people all the time. You get annoyed. You have an argument or a rough and a tumble, and then you're friends again. And it's the same thing in a business environment with your guys that are there, basically. Obviously keeping it professional, but there will be times where you get upset and you get annoyed about things. They want to know that you're upset about it, just likewise they could be upset with you. The same thing.
Yeah, it's two-way. It's two-way street.
Correct. It's not just one way, but it is they could be upset with you with the way you might execute something. I had a thing today where I was apologizing to one of my guys because he thought I was digging at him, and I wasn't. It was more of a processual thing, and he was like, it wasn't me. And then I realized, oh bloody hell, he thinks I'm digging at him, and I had to apologize a couple of times. Look, I wasn't meaning you. I was not meaning you. I don't want you getting any demoralized over it, basically. But it's again reading your guys when you're telling them things, because emotions are a massive thing. Emotion, the word emotion, what is it? It's got the word motion in it. Emotion.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
If you demotivate them, they're not going to move, are they?
No, they're literally not going to. Yeah. I like that analogy. I think that's really interesting. So there must have been times in this rapid growth phase that you've been part of in the last, 5 or 6 years, where it's not gone to plan or it's been a bit difficult.
Mate, Colin,
how the values helped you get through those moments?
I have had moments where I've just said, I want to pack up. I've had enough. I've had that through the 2 or 3 years, 4 years now. But then you have it's more of a dummy thing, that you have a dummy, like a child throwing his dummy out of his mouth. It's not gone your way, and then you think about walking away, basically. But it's at those moments, it's those lowest moments where you've got to allow that time to, it's almost like grieve over whatever's gone wrong or whatever's happened, or those rough times that you're going through, and really think about things. And then there's a fire. I don't know what happens with me. I get a fire inside, and as much as there's times when I throw things away and I say I'm not doing this, and I'm pissed off and I'm angry and whatever, but yeah, then something comes over when you settle. It's like a snow globe. When things don't go your way, it's like a snow globe, because you have an idea of how it's going to go.
Yeah, it's all blurry and flying around.
Yeah, everything becomes blurry, and then it's at those moments that you can't see, and when you can't see, then you make irrational decisions, basically, and get annoyed or angry that it's not working or whatever. But those are the moments that you have to. It's like if you have an argument with somebody, you can't try and say sorry immediately. You have to let things settle, basically. Whatever's been said, let it settle, and then you go back in and say, "Look, this is."
Then you have the conversation.
The same thing when you're in the same thing as in the business side of things, is that you can't just go in and fix it immediately. You'll have to let things settle, and in your head, the answers then start to. You get some clarity, and you start seeing the answers for the questions that you've asked, and you don't know what the answers are, basically,
yeah, so that value that you were talking about, the fight like an underdog sort of thing, that sounds like the spirit that's come through when times have been difficult.
Yeah, it has, definitely 100%, where I've been so low, so down.
And as the team rallied round, what happens in those moments as well?
The team, I've never actually expected them to rally round with me, but there have been times that they say, "Rob, we can see you're a bit low. Talk about it, and I'll try and act strong in front of them." And I'll have real heart-to-hearts with them, because it's always good. But I think I went on a course. It was in the LSBU course. When we went on there, there was a guy who was in there who was talking about leadership, and I was like, "Damn, I've been there." Where it's okay to be, when you're in leadership, it's leaders have got to show that they're also human.
Yes.
They've got to show that they hurt, they cry, they get upset, because I think people view their leaders as people that are strong and they're just complete iron throughout. Something I look at my dad sometimes. Yeah. My dad is a leader for me, and I always think that, no, he doesn't have any emotions, and he's strong and he knows what the answers are. But then as time has gone on, as I'm getting older and he's getting older, I realize actually this guy, he's just been strong. He's been really strong. And that's what your guys will look for in you at work. But then they also got to see the vulnerability. It's okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah, you've got to see both sides, that you're pretty strong most of the time, but there are times when you don't know where to go, or you don't know what's happening. Yeah.
Correct. And it can be quite scary.
Yeah.
It can be very scary.
How do you manage your time normally?
Management's been quite poor, because I've had so much desire and fight for this business to grow. This has been my life. I've got my wife, and I've got my child. I've got a family. When we got married, she knew that I was in a business. She's been very, very supportive of me throughout my business career. Not really been somebody who's been hounding about the hours, because she understands what I'm where I want to take this. But time's gone on where obviously you have to give time and pull back, basically. Time management. So in the last 4 years, from my business in particular, I'm not sure how the businesses work, but we've had to pivot, and she's known I've had to put my full back into it to keep this business afloat. Because 2019 we had to pivot, 2020 we had to pivot quite quickly.
Yes,
we were delivered business.
COVID. Yeah,
we were delivered business. Our delivery business completely shut down.
Literally, all the pubs and clubs they closed, didn't they? Yeah.
But we pivoted towards a cash and carry model.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like we had loads of money in the bank.
No,
we were running off of stock that we had in our warehouse. So it wasn't one of those, when I said it at the beginning, it wasn't one of those stories, those glamorous stories that these people have just managed to turn. No, we went through rough and tumble basically to do it with the stock that we had. But with the time management side, over the last 4 years, it's been payback. So my family have understood that. Look, he's trying to get the business back on a steady course. Get it back on a steady course, like a ship. Get it back on a steady course. Keep your men happy, and then you basically can take a relieving point. I've taken on coaching, business coaching, to get me, because I don't have the answers. I don't have all of the. I don't have it like I'm asking questions all day long. Sometimes
yeah.
my father doesn't have these answers because the business has grown past his ideas, but he doesn't know himself. So we go into the unknown.
Where has the coaching mainly helped you then, changed your views?
Gives you a different perspective on and take on things. I was nudged into studying. Yeah, so that was I was nudged onto that to better myself actually on the business side of things. And then it developed from there. Obviously, I met yourself there, and I met a load of other trainers there. And then from that, it's a wisdom. I think as business owners, we always think, well, I think this is me. You think that you know everything. You think that you know all of the answers of your business, and you know the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs, the sideways, which you really should, but you won't be good at all of them. There's no way.
You can't be, can you? No.
You think you can. I still think I am. No, you can't be. You're not going to be as good. Depending, like, I'm quite confident that I am the type of guy that will say, right, if I only had that to do, I know I'd be brilliant here.
Yeah, but right.
I haven't got the time to only do that. I have to be able to spread myself across a load of things and get the right people in place.
Yeah.
So that is one of the things from the coaching that is coming, like the books that I've read out of this. E-Myth.
Yes.
Spelled very like someone in the book that you recommended. I'm reading it and I'm thinking, bloody hell, I've been there. I've been there. I've been that. I've seen this. I've seen that. And it feels like someone's been watching your life for the last 10 years, and you realize this is where the mentorings come in. I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't got mentoring. I would never have known that. I would have sat there going on the internet, on Amazon, looking for self-help books and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this is actually
which one to look
pushed you in the right direction. It's like having a boat and not having any sails. But you've got the main thing that holds the sails up, but you haven't got sails.
Right.
Mentor is the sails.
Interesting. That's really lovely. So yeah, we're coming to the end of the time. But what would you've now been in business since 2008, so you've got a good chunk of experience now. What would be the 2 or 3 things that you'd advise an aspiring business owner, kind of early stages, to focus on?
I think one of the most important things of a businessman is they have to be super open. You've got to be super open, basically. You've got to be willing to hear other people. You've got to be willing to understand that you're not always going to be right. Your emotions are always going to play games with you when you think you're right and someone else is telling you, I don't think this and I don't think that, and then you'll get upset because you think you know everything. One of the things is definitely be open. Be open, listen to people. I had that problem when I first started, thought I knew everything, came out of uni and thought, no, I want to basically make this business the best that it possibly can, and I know all the answers. To be fair, I knew nothing. And you'd get upset when people would talk against, or they weren't actually aligning with your value, basically, or what you think that you know. It's always listen, find people out there that I think
who do know and can help you.
Yeah, that can help you. Yeah. Being humble's a massive part.
Okay.
Humble is one of the biggest parts of just being in life, basically. I think being humble is so imperative, and your actual DNA of how you are as a human being will help you progress through business, basically, because there's a lot of arrogant people out there, a lot of people that know, again, they've gone through the right strikes have happened for them, money might have gone to their head, or success has gone to their head, and the humbleness disappears. Humbleness is what people want to deal with. People want to deal with people.
Yeah.
No matter how high you are up within a company, no matter how many millions you're turning over, somebody could still come and say hello to you, whether than being 100 million ahead of you or 100 million behind you. That's what we are. We're humans. We're only going to be on this planet for a certain time, and then we're going to go. So it's basically being humble throughout that. Definitely being humble is a massive part.
Okay. Like so openness to ideas and learning and
reading. Go out and get as many books, business books, as you possibly. Every book that I've read, every podcast I've listened to, every majority of the business self-help books I've read now, every single one of them, they've got a narrative, and you're thinking, I read that book and that's got that sort of narrative, and it's all leading the same way, and you start thinking, well, hold a minute,
isn't there?
There is a trend, and then one of the biggest things that you read through those books is read things like the big business moguls of this world, Warren Buffett, Tony Robbins, who else is there? Grant Cardone, all these big boys that are in business, big moguls. Microsoft, what's his name? Bill Gates.
Yeah.
They'll all sit there and saying that, well, one thing I know Warren Buffett and Bill Gates have said, if they could find a way to read books quicker, they'd do it. And it's in so many of the books I have read, because one of the things is they'll say, if I could find a way of reading books a lot quicker than what I already consuming, yeah, because the information. And one of the things that you hear is that some of the big boys, majority of the big boys, they're reading a book a week.
Whoa.
A book a week.
That's discipline.
That is serious discipline. Serious. They're cramming a book worth of information inside themselves in a week, basically. Now imagine the wealth of information they can. I used to hate reading books.
Yeah, I was going to say it's quite hard on top of a long day as well, and then looking after the kids. Wow. So that's 3 very powerful recommendations right at the end there. Fantastic. So stay open, stay humble, and read a lot. Well, that's a pretty good set of lessons. So, Rav, thank you. It's been really interesting. Really lovely to talk to you. And good luck with the business.
Thank you so much.